Alrighty, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday, y'all. As you can see, I am on the English 8 writing classroom, and I am under the classwork tab, and I am under the actually writing. As you can see here, I do have the Tuesday one ready to go. It's scheduled for the morning, so I don't know why I'm telling you this because the only way that you can see it is if you are, clicking on it. But just know that under this assignment, there are two documents. There is the Wooden People one, and then there is questions for writing assignment. So let's start with this one, and I'm just going to kind of go through it here. So we are getting to the point now where we are going to be sharing our reading with other people, and we are going to be critiquing and commenting on other people's work. And so this first one's going to be a practice, and this first one is coming from me. I'm actually a little nervous about sharing this with y'all because I don't share my own writing a whole lot, and so, but I figure if I'm making you guys and girls do this, I'm going to do it too. So as you will see here, I do have writing. This story is a little bit different than the one that I was telling you about in class. This is a different story. And so I'm just going to kind of let you go into it a little kind of blind because I don't want to spoil the ending of the first chapter. So, but what you're going to do here, and here are the directions, okay? And I will try to post these directions on every single document that we are sending out here. So, the directions, you are going to read the piece of writing that I'm giving you for something that I am working on. For other people to be what they're working on, we're going to be doing 2 a day. So at night, you'll have a little bit of homework. You'll have 2 of them to do. I would recommend using study hall time. I would recommend using win time. Because those will be very, very important times for you to work on this stuff, okay? On a different document, as I saw over here, there are going to be the writing questions, okay? And I can show you mine here real quick. You don't have to do this part, like right here. I just wanted to show you that I took my goals and I made questions out of them, okay? But we'll go over that here shortly, okay? I want you to complete that document while you are reading this. Now, you're not just going to read this once and then be done with it. You're going to read it at least twice, okay? The first time, read the document and just kind of simply go through it and familiarize yourself with the piece. You're just kind of reading it for the enjoyment. You're reading it for what it is, okay? Then you're going to read it a second time through. And now you're going to be kind of looking as a writer yourself. And you're going to be thinking about the questions that will be arising, as well as any comments that you might have. Now, when it comes to commenting, right here, comment on any part of the text that triggers some sort of an emotion from you. So maybe it was something that you really liked and you thought it was interesting, you thought it was funny, and you want to say, I really enjoyed this part, I thought it was really funny. Maybe there was a part that you were confused about and you were like, I don't understand what you're saying here. I don't understand what you're trying to do. This makes no sense to me, blah, blah, blah. Write that down, okay? Or just anything else that you just want to comment on to the writer, do that. Now, a way to do that for you guys and girls is on your iPads, just hold and click, kind of like that, and then what will pop up will be like a copy, paste, and then there should be an add comment button. And once you add a comment in, then you can type in what that comment is. So while you're going through a second time, and maybe even a first time, maybe while you're reading the first time, you might have some comments here or there. Just give them those comments. They're going to be able to see these comments, and they're going to know they're from you. So let them know, okay? And then you're going to answer the questions. You will answer the questions very specific to the text. This means that you are pulling out very specific scenes, very specific words, sentences, or passages to answer these questions. I think the biggest error that kids make and writers make when they are trying to give feedback is they are too vague. And I get feedback sometimes where I don't even know if the person read it. And so, if you just say things like, "Oh, I thought your beginning had a lot of descriptive words in it," that's not going to tell me anything. But if you say instead, "I really like how at the beginning of your story, you were able to describe the lake in such a way and the smell that you talked about, that smell of salt water really got to me," something like that. That is way more specific and detailed, and they know that you actually read it, and I know you actually read it as well. So, make sure that you are being very specific with that, okay? Like I just said, when we are done talking as a group, we'll talk for about roughly 15 minutes. So you'll get about 3-4 minutes per question. In class to talk about this stuff, maybe a little bit longer. We do have 41 minutes, so we'll have to not rush through them, but make sure that we use our time very wisely in class. When we're done talking as a group, I will then give you, if you're the writer, I will give you a chance to talk, and then I will also give you all these documents so you can read through everyone's discussion or everyone's comments, and also through everyone's answers to the question. So if they weren't there in class, or they weren't able to talk in class because we ran out of time, then you can still see what they wrote. Okay. In class, I'll be grading you on both. I'll be grading you on your ability to talk in class as well as your written comments. So just know that's coming. Okay. So, as you see here, here is my story. It's 1.5 spaces. It's about 8.5 pages, I would say. It's 2 chapters of a longer piece. And so I have some questions about it. So let's go to that document, which is the second document on it. And I'm just going to go over here now. So the directions are very, very similar to what you just read on that one. But, okay, so what I did was I went through my writing goals because I'm writing a narrative. So I went with those narrative writing goals. You have your own goals. You've written your own questions. That's great. Okay? And so what I did was I took this part over here and I made it into a question. So, for example, this question or this goal is I can develop characters by using dialogue and using descriptive words. And so one of the things that I always like to talk about, or I like discussing with my own pieces, is I'm writing in first person, and I really want the character to sound real and believable, and someone of that age, usually a teenager, or in the first chapter, a little kid. Second chapter, it's a teenager. And so I think my question is, how does the voice of my main character, Dawson, sound so far? Does he sound like a real person? So what you're going to do here in the box is you're going to tell me either yes he does, no he doesn't, and then give me some specific parts where you really felt like, oh, he didn't sound like a real person here, or he sounded like a 30-year-old adult, don't make him sound like that kind of a deal. Or, yeah, he sounded really believable, and here was his line of dialogue that helped me back that up. So, I should say also, when you're doing this, please don't hunt for an answer. And what I mean by that is, if you just want to say yes or no and then move on, and then you go, oh, shoot, I need a quote. Oh, here we go, here's a quote, and then you place it in there. Don't do that, okay? Don't rush through it. Take your time on these. Get them done on time, because we're going to be discussed the next day, and you get points for that. But make sure that you're actually reading to read, and you're reading to comprehend, you're reading to understand. That will help you out, okay? So that's question 1. Does my character's voice so far in narration and in dialogue sound real? My goal here was different types of transitions to go from scene to scene. So I'm giving you 2 chapters, and chapter 2 especially has a couple scenes in it. Does it make sense logically? Do I transition well enough? Do I go from scene to scene? Is it pretty seamless? Or do you get confused? Does it jump around too quickly or too abruptly? And so that's kind of for you to decide and you to give me an example, okay? And then goal number 3 here, I can use words or phrases as well as descriptive words and sensory images to reveal the action and experiences of the story. So one place that I know that I struggle with writing, especially narrative, is adding in details. I am someone who likes to write very bare bones, and I struggle with that sensory image. I always feel like when it's done, it's usually done forcefully. It's not done like a normal person would do it, and so I just want to have that question of does it do I have enough description? Is there any place in here where you feel like I could add some more? Okay, so help me out with that. So this is going to be due Wednesday. What we're going to be doing Wednesday is we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about it. And then we will move on from there. We'll create a schedule for our own class. I am looking at your questions tomorrow and seeing who can go first, who can go second, those kinds of things. Okay. If you have any questions, please reach out. And my office hours are 10 to 11 and 1:30 to 2:30. All right. Thanks, guys.